In a small, forgotten town, there was an old antique shop filled with dusty treasures and curious oddities. The shop was run by a quiet, elderly man named Mr. Williams, who had owned it for as long as anyone could remember. Among the many items in the shop, there was one piece that stood out: an ornate, full-length mirror with a heavy, gilded frame. The mirror was said to be cursed, but no one knew why. One day, a young woman named Emily moved to the town. She was drawn to the shop, curious about its mysterious reputation. When she walked in, her eyes were immediately drawn to the mirror. It was beautiful, though there was something unsettling about it. The glass seemed to ripple slightly, as if the reflections within it were alive. Emily approached the mirror, and as she did, Mr. Williams appeared beside her. "Be careful with that one," he warned in a low voice. "It's not just a mirror, it's a window." "A window?" Emily asked, intrigued. "Yes," he replied, "a window to another world, but not one you'd want to visit." Emily brushed off his words as an old man's superstition and decided to buy the mirror. She had always been fascinated by the unknown, and the idea of owning something with such a history excited her. That evening, Emily hung the mirror in her bedroom. As she admired her reflection, she thought she saw a shadow move behind her. She spun around, but the room was empty. Nervously laughing at herself, she went to bed. That night, Emily was awoken by a soft tapping sound. She opened her eyes and saw a figure standing in front of the mirror. It was a young woman, pale and ghostly, with hollow eyes and tattered clothes, her hands pressed against the glass as if she were trapped inside. Emily's heart raced. She wanted to scream, but fear paralyzed her. The ghostly figure stared at her with a pleading expression, mouthing words that Emily couldn't hear. Gathering her courage, Emily got out of bed and approached the mirror. As she reached out to touch the glass, the figure's eyes widened in terror. "No," she mouthed, shaking her head frantically. But Emily was too curious to stop. Her fingers brushed the surface of the mirror, and suddenly the room around her vanished. Emily found herself in a dark, cold space. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the only light came from the faint glow of the mirror. She turned to see her bedroom on the other side, but it was fading, growing dimmer with each passing second. Panic set in as Emily realized she was inside the mirror. The ghostly figure appeared beside her, her expression filled with sorrow. "I tried to warn you," the ghost whispered, her voice echoing in the darkness. Desperate, Emily pounded on the glass, but it was solid, unyielding. Her reflection in the bedroom looked back at her, mirroring her every move. Slowly, her reflection smiled, a twisted, sinister grin. With a final desperate scream, Emily watched as the mirror world around her closed in, trapping her in eternal darkness. The next day, Mr. Williams found the mirror back in his shop, with Emily's reflection staring out from within, her eyes wide with terror, forever trapped.